All right, we are live. Hi, this is AA with RON Internet Entertainment, bringing you It's All About the Pop, episode 13. And I have a guest for this show, Anakin. You know him best as Anakin on
Where aren't I from? Fightful, chat, Warren Hayes Discord. Where am I not from?
Yes, true. So yeah, that's true. So you could follow him on Twitter. Yeah, but we'll get to the plugs at the end of the show. Sadly, we're up against Fightful's predictions for the NXT Takeover.
Wah wah.
But his prediction shows are usually short, right? So maybe people will come on.
Yeah, probably.
So we got this week. It's been interesting. We got some controversy. Especially yesterday, we got a firing and a story from the cast of Buffy and Angel. We got WandaVision episode 5. That was a big episode from last Friday.
Last of Us casting, which I'm super
Last of Us,
stoked for.
yeah. Man, Pedro Pascal is getting every major role. We could talk. Falcon Winter Shoulder trailer from the Super Bowl. Also, Joker's new look from the Snyder cut, which is really awesome. I mean, that's the Jared Leto Joker from Suicide Squad out the window. So let's talk about WandaVision. That's what you want to talk about mostly from our DM messages. So I'll give the floor to yours. What did you think of the episode? I thought it was great. A great episode.
I love this show. I love it so much. It feels so good having the MCU back, even if it isn't this way and it's not a big movie. 2020 didn't realize how long of a year it really was until that first episode of WandaVision starts,
Yeah.
and you get the Marvel Studios logo, and you go, "Oh, feels so good." And I get chills from it, especially with how they changed it. But I was in after the first 2 episodes. I was like, "This is really cool. I'm really enjoying this." And then the end of episode 3 was like, "Okay, I'm definitely in for this." And then episode 4, and it just was like, "Wow!" And this most recent episode, it's like they keep. It's always like, how can they possibly have a better episode than the one that just aired? And then we get the next one, and it just keeps going up and up and up. And I'm hopeful that it's not going to come crashing down and hurt inside, but I don't think it will.
I agree.
Kevin Feige seems to. Kevin Feige, he's been at this for a while. He knows what works, and I think the way the show is going to end, I think he's going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, episode 5, because that's really the halfway point, right? It's just nine episodes, right? So episode 5, I guess, is considered a halfway point. So they really need to turn up a notch. And that episode, the ending, the part where she comes out with the spoilers, guys. There's gonna be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it and don't listen to this. When she comes out of the I guess it's a force field. I don't know what to call it.
The hex.
The hex. Yeah, they call it the hex now.
Yeah.
Because of she's in the comics, she's Scarlet Witch, and hex is was the
Right. Well, but
her.
also because of the hexagonal shapes. Yeah.
When she was pissed off, and what she did with the military, I guess the sword members all aiming her guns at Haywood. Like there's some speculation like Haywood, is it Haywood or Harwood?
I think it's Haywood.
Like there's like some people think Haywood's like the really mastermind behind house. I don't get the sense of that. I think he's a military guy, just a jerk, just a jackass.
Yeah. Well, she was so mad she got her accent back.
Yeah. Yes, I noticed too. And what I like about this is like the kids keep going up, older and older. Like, and Agnes, as you know, Agnes is just always there at the moments. Like she doesn't notice anything. I think she does notice the stuff. She doesn't say it because we all know. If you're a Marvel fan, you all know she's probably the one. If it's true about Manifesto, she probably sent her there to keep an eye on her. Keep an eye on Wanda. And you know when the scene when Vision and his coworker were talking and he got the email from Sword from I think it was
Yeah.
from the email's definitely from Darcy, right?
I,
Probably
I
from
believe
Darcy.
I believe so. Yeah.
And all of a sudden he touched the guy's forehead. He touched the guy's forehead, and then all of a sudden he's like in pain. He says he's controlling me. I don't think that's Scarlet Witch controlling her. I think that's somebody else. I think that's Agnes. I think Agnes is manipulating the whole thing. I think Scarlet Witch is a little bit aware of this, but I don't think she's aware. She's fully aware because you could tell at the end of the episode. You could tell she's not fully aware. She's just accepted this because of her grief. But I think Agnes is the true manipulator of everything.
I mean, somebody has to be.
Yeah.
The Mephisto theory is a popular one because that's who was behind it in House of M, which is what the show is kind of loosely based on. But we've seen Marvel Studios, they take storylines from the comics and they'll be inspired by them, but they'll do things differently. I mean, we saw that with Civil War. We saw that with the with the Infinity Stone saga. We've seen that, with all of these different storylines that are inspired, but but then they do their own thing. Wanda definitely seems in control of a lot of it, but she says to Vision, do you really think I could take control of an entire town? And it's like, well, yeah, like I don't think she's that powerful where she's able to do it unaided.
Yeah.
So the question is, who or what is aiding her?
If it's Agnes and Manifesto, because like they're hellish beings basically. They should have more power than Wanda. If you think about it. So yeah, and Evan Peters as Quicksilver. What do you think? Do you think it's the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, or is just a recast Aaron Taylor Johnson?
So I put a lot of thought into this, like a lot of thought, and I've read a lot of theories, and I think the coolest thing would be if it is the Quicksilver from the X-Men movies. Mm-hmm. But what I don't think they're going to do is have, because we all know X-Men are coming, mutants are coming.
Yeah,
there's no longer the rights issues. Mm-hmm. It's just a question of how are they going to do it, and they can't do the thing where mutants have been here the whole time as well, because you've had all these things. You've had New York attacked.
Yeah.
You had you had an entire city lifted into the air that had to be evacuated. Thanos. You can't say, and while all that was happening, there was a secret group of mutants with powers that were also doing things. You can't, because it's like they would have shown up in that final battle against Thanos. They would have shown up in Wakanda to try to stop him from landing. Like it wouldn't make sense to do that. What does make sense is, because we know WandaVision connects with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
If the way they bring in mutants is by having them be from another universe, but I don't think they're gonna just take the X-Men universe and put those guys in the MCU, because they're gonna want to do their own versions of Xavier and Magneto and all those stories. And I don't think you're gonna get James McAvoy back as Xavier. I don't think you're gonna get Jennifer Lawrence back as a Mystique. Yeah,
she phoned it in the last two movies that she's in.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen Dark Phoenix yet, but I do know what happened to her. What happened to her in there, and yeah, she was saying how she enjoyed playing the character. She just hated doing the makeup, which I don't blame her, because you're in there for hours. But they're going to want to do their own versions of that. So having Evan Peters come in, it can have that connection, but having the rest of the mutants be their own thing. That way you can have Wolverine and Storm and Cyclops and all that, and not be weighted down by decisions made in movies that you literally had no control over. And that's also how you can have things like we know the Sokovia Accords are still in existence. That was mentioned in the last episode. Yeah. That's a violation of them.
They consider her a terrorist still.
Yeah. So if you have another universe come in, and now all of a sudden mutants are a thing, that's how people are going to be frightened of them. Because like we've already seen what superpowered beings can do. We saw what happened in Sokovia. We saw what happened in Lagos. We had Thanos happen. We already know what happens. And now there's a whole group of people that are just born with powers, and we don't know who they are. And that's how you can get a Senator Kelly to come in and be like, we need to have a mutant registration act. That's in keeping with the Sokovia Accords. Like, this is stuff we need to do. It's such an easy way to get those kind of storylines in there and have it make sense, because now it's another universe and they're terrified because they have no experience with these kind of people.
I was thinking, and when you were mentioning that, I was thinking while you're saying that, maybe the next Avenger movies, if they ever in the next few years or whatever, maybe we'll have Avengers versus X-Men.
And that's how you would do it, because I definitely think whenever X-Men get introduced, that has to be something that they're doing. It's now here's one theory that was posted by Joshua Yale over at IGN. So I encourage everybody, go read the article, because it is a fantastic theory. The theory is that Wanda went into the multiverse and got a Mind Stone from another universe, because we see Vision and he's got the Mind Stone back.
Yeah.
But the one we know, was
in the
destroyed.
current universe is destroyed. Yeah.
Right. It was destroyed by Thanos. The one that was used to bring everybody back, Cap sent back in time to where it's supposed to go. So the theory is maybe Wanda got a Mind Stone from another universe, and that's why Vision doesn't remember what his life was before Westview, because we know from Infinity War, we know Vision is a combination of Ultron and Jarvis and the Mind Stone and Tony, and so if you have all those other parts but you don't have the Mind Stone, it can be a thing where he's got the personality but he doesn't have the memories. And maybe if it is a Mind Stone from another world, maybe whatever bit of Vision Shuri was able to get before the snap, maybe they can get that into the Vision body we have now, and he's able to kind of partially get his memories and powers back. But that's also why that's also how Wanda is able to have the control over this whole town, because she's using the Mind Stone to make her telepathy even stronger. I can't fully dictate what the theory says, but seriously, go on IGN, read it. Yeah. It is a really good theory, and I was like, I really kind of would like hope this is what it is, because it's so good.
So the rumor is that I think Kevin Feige said this, that there's gonna be a Luke Skywalker like cameo at the end of the season.
I think Elizabeth Olsen said it.
Elizabeth Olsen, okay.
I think she said it. Yeah.
Like, if there's gonna be a Luke Skywalker like character of level at the end of the season, it has to be like, I don't know who. It has to be like somebody like Magneto or Xavier. It has to be somebody like that. But I don't think it's gonna be Wolverine. Some people think it's gonna be Wolverine. I don't think Hugh Jackman wants to come back as Wolverine. I think Logan's a perfect send-off.
Yeah.
So I think it's either of those two, and I think it might be older Xavier, because he can help her with their issue, the grief and their powers. Like Jean Grey has the same. Like, Jean Grey doesn't have the grief, but Jean Grey has her immense power. She has and the Dark Phoenix or the Phoenix comes out of her. He can help Scarlet Witch like that. If you have Magneto, I don't know how you could use and we don't know Magneto's Scarlet Witch's father in the comics, but in this, Magneto's I don't know if it could work with Magneto.
Well, I have a theory about that. It could be that maybe Wanda's dad is Eric Lencher. It's just not an Eric Lencher with powers. So
maybe he survived.
But if it's from another universe, it's got it has her father's face, but it's not her father. But now he also has these powers. It could be a way they could kind of scoot around the issue. Although now in the comics, supposedly her and Pietro aren't actually Magneto's kids, but that was during the whole thing of when there was a dispute over the X-Men rights, and a lot of people saw Marvel doing that as being like, okay, they're just trying to distance themselves from the X-Men because they can't fully use them in the movies. With that no longer being an issue, I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years we read that in the comics they've restored it back and they are now back as being his kids.
Mention, we're gonna go on to another subject. When you mention all these heroes, the X-Men, they could cause problems with their powers. You seen Falcon Winter Shoulder, right? You saw the trailer, obviously.
Yeah.
Barry Zemo even said in that trailer, superheroes. There should be no superheroes, right? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing that. He's against superheroes currently.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue there. So what did you think of that trailer? I loved it.
Oh, it's so good. I didn't see it when it aired because I was working, but I did catch it on YouTube and I mean it's what a lot of us were thinking the MCU shows were going to be like, and then the first one we get is WandaVision, which is this weird thing, but it's awesome. But I think this is more kind of what people were expecting from an MCU show, and it looks so good. I loved seeing Sam using the shield. Like he's like, okay, he's really training with it. He's really trying to learn how to use it, and I'm thinking by the end of the season, he's going to become Captain America.
Yeah.
He's going to actually fully take it on. I think this show is his journey to now. Okay, Cap's given me the shield. He's given me the moniker. I don't feel like I'm ready for it. And by the end of the show, it's okay. You know what? I'm able to do it, and I wouldn't be surprised if, because there's been rumors of, maybe Chris Evans is going to be re-signing in to come back as Steve Rogers in some capacity. I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up as a quick cameo, like maybe towards the end or something, as old Steve, basically being like, hey, you've earned this. Go be Cap.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, you can see the issues that Bucky and what's his name, Sam Wilson have, like the therapy sessions. They're like a couple. And I'm more like the trailers. I'm more intrigued with Barry Zemo's goal because we saw in Civil War, his plan almost it really did work.
It really did, yeah.
But then at the end, when he was trying to commit suicide because his plan worked, because he saw how the Avengers were a threat and he kind of split them up, and then Black Panther kind of prevented him from suicide. Now he has a new plan. I believe his new plan is to get rid of superheroes because it prevented him from getting peace by finally ending his life. Because I don't know.
Did he not die at the end of Civil War? I don't
No,
remember.
remember he was about to commit suicide, and Black Panther kind of stopped him. Black Panther felt sorry for him, but
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I couldn't remember.
He was out after when Tony Stark, Iron Man, was fighting 2-on-1 against Captain America and Bucky Barnes
Oh, yeah.
Shoulder. He was outside. He was outside the point where Black Panther followed them, right? He was outside. He started talking about his family and stuff, his problems, why he did this. And Black Panther wanted to kill him. Black Panther wanted to kill him because he found out Barry Zemo impersonated Bucky Barnes as the bomber where Black Panther's father died, right?
Okay, yeah, I remember now.
He explained himself, and Black Panther, he could see T'Challa's face. He felt sorry for him because of how much what the pain did to him. Well, because I think his family, correct me if I'm, Barry Zemo's family died during the Ultron incident.
I don't remember.
So Black Panther prevented him from killing himself. So he went to face trial, and at the end of Civil War, you see him in that thing that Bucky Barnes was originally in. Remember?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now to see what happened to his family because I don't remember.
He took down Hydra. He pretty much took down Hydra.
Yeah.
Even though technically in the comics he is Hydra.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not finding what happened to his family. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they were killed in Sokovia.
Yeah. So I want to see Barry Zemo. I know he was a master manipulator. A lot of people don't give him a lot of credit as a villain because he really didn't fight or do anything, but he did one thing no other villain did, was break up the Avengers. And now in this, I think we're gonna see him in action. See what his skills are, and he has the mask this time.
Yeah, which looks good. It looks good. It's it's funny. First time I saw it, I said, "Why is Kane in this movie?"
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh, Baron Zemo, got it."
So I'm excited. Then Loki after that, but we don't have anything on Loki yet. We just saw a little trailer of Loki.
But I will say, if you've played the game Control, got a
I
lot of
have to.
vibes, got a lot of
I have
Control
to
vibes.
play. I
I'm
have to
in for.
play it.
It's a great game. It's a great game. Remedy makes great games. There's a lot of Control vibes here. I'm in, and Owen Wilson looks like he's going to be great. Just the one scene that we really see of him in the elevator
Yeah.
talking to Loki, I'm in. I was like, yes, give me this. I'm
Looks
ready.
like it looks like an FBI agent Loki.
Yes.
So let's go. Let's go to another topic. So how pumped are you for the Snyder Justice League?
Let's put it this way. Okay, I'm gonna quote Greg Miller of Kind of Funny. It cannot be worse than the Justice League we got.
Oh, 100%.
It cannot be. And I have seen people say, "Oh, you sure about that? You sure?" And I said, "Yes." Because I in the last year I rewatched that theatrical cut of Justice League. First time I'd seen it since theaters, and it was worse than I remember. It was so bad. Like the movie that people claim Batman v Superman is, Justice League actually is. And I'm not saying Batman v Superman is a great movie.
It's not a
It
bad
is
movie.
it is a good movie. It's not great.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not what I would have done.
You have to watch the extended edition to get a real
Yes.
feel for
Yes.
that movie.
But the Justice League we got, I am somebody who is I'm such a huge DC fan. I've become more, apart from Spider-Man, my favorite superheroes have all been from
Me too.
from DC. Like Spider-Man will always be my number one. Spider-Man the animated series was my cartoon as a kid. A lot of people had Batman the animated series. I didn't see too much of that as a kid, but I was a Fox Kids kid, so I saw X-Men and I saw Spider-Man, and that was what I loved. But the DC animated universe I love so much. That's how I became such a huge DC fan. So the fact that Marvel was killing it with these movies, making these awesome Avengers movies, and then I finally get a Justice League movie, and it's just it is so bad. Like it can't be worse than what we got, and I will stand by that until the moment that it actually comes out. But I don't think it will, because people have to remember that Justice League movie we got in 2017 was a Frankenstein's monster of a film. It was taking stuff that Snyder shot and Whedon shot and mishmashed together in a way that it never should have been, and it felt so disjointed and not a cohesive unit at all. So what we're gonna get with Snyder's version, am I expecting it to be Avengers Infinity War Endgame good? No, and nobody should. But am I expecting to at least be able to enjoy this one and be like, you know what, that was a good movie? Yes, because that's all I want, with the hope that eventually we get a really properly awesome Justice League movie in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the stickers look at these Joker pics.
Oh, you know what? I'm so glad they removed the stupid damage tattoo on his forehead. I hated that. I didn't mind all the other tattoos that he had in Suicide Squad, but that one on the forehead, I thought was so
Oh man,
dumb.
you know what? A lot of people didn't like Jared Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad, but they cut so much stuff out for him in that movie.
Yeah.
And that's why the people didn't like it. I mean, the damage stuff, from the gangster stuff, I didn't get that the Joker, but this Joker, this Jared Leto Joker, I know apparently this is from the Nightmare sequence in the Snyder cut, which is okay, but this Joker, this Joker, I think Heath Ledger's Joker is amazing.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's Joker is amazing. Okay, Joaquin Phoenix Joker is amazing, but this Joker looks the most sadistic of them all.
Yeah. I wouldn't say Jack Nicholson's Joker was amazing. It's fine.
Yeah.
I recently rewatched Batman '89. And I was like, oof. Like, there's moments where he's brilliant in it, and then there's moments where it's just like, I can't take this seriously. Better than Cesar Romero's Joker for sure. But yeah, no, I get definite those pictures. I get definite Ledger Joker vibes, which is not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. And and people were very skeptical of Heath Ledger when we first saw images and pictures and when he was cast. And what happened? He got a freaking Academy Award for it, and it was beloved, and and it is just such an amazing performance. So I hope Jared Leto is able to really make this Joker good and really able to do it in a
Yeah.
different direction if he's given enough time. Because that's the other thing. We don't know exactly how
Yeah.
much time.
It's a 4-hour movie, right? So we'll
Yeah.
see. And this Joker, like, I think with the Jared Leto's Joker, yeah, they cut out all the stuff because Warner Brothers likes to interfere in their DCEU movies. You clearly saw it with Justice League and definitely with Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see what Ayer's version is like, his real Suicide Squad is like. See, but I think with the Jared Leto's Joker, they didn't get people are like so high on Heath Ledger's Joker. You know, that's a high thing to. That's what I was gonna say. You can't you can't go by Heath Ledger's Joker. That was 8 years ago from that movie. You can't compare the two because that's a totally different Joker for a totally different universe. That Nolan universe is a more realistic universe, which that Joker worked fine for. Jared Leto's Joker works. They didn't get used. It was in a universe where you had superpowers, super beings, and stuff. And what the thing is, what I find that I didn't like about the Suicide Squad movie, I think it was all that bad. The villain, oh, that was the worst villain probably the DCEU of all the movies. Worse than Doomsday. And Doomsday was a joke, but Enchantress is a bigger joke. So all she did was dance and stuff.
Yeah, I mean I've seen Suicide Squad twice. When I saw it in theaters, I was like, that was really good. I enjoyed it. When I watched it again last year, I was like, okay, it's not as good as I remembered it. There's definitely a lot more issues and problems, but Margot Robbie was one of the things that that worked, and she knocked it out of the park with Birds of Prey last year.
And Will Smith is Deadshot, one of the best two parts, and I think the Suicide Squad movie needed more Batman in it because if you have the Joker and Harley, didn't Joker infiltrate one of Wayne facilities or something? Why wasn't Batman around? Bruce Wayne should be investigating that stuff. He's Batman. And Batman, Joker breaks in one of his Wayne Emperor's facilities, subsidies. He should go after Joker, in the movie. That's why I think they need a little bit more Batman in that movie, especially with Joker.
But I don't think they were in Gotham though. I don't remember them being in Gotham.
But Batman, Batman could get around, right? So
sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the DCU cities. That Metropolis is right across Gotham. I did not like that.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, but this Joker, Jared Leto's Joker, this looks like a better Joker, sadistic Joker. A Joker I could get it behind because that obviously the Suicide Squad Joker was damaged. We don't need to know you're damaged. We really know. Everybody knows the Joker's a damaged character. We don't need to know that, man.
Yeah.
And that Joker, he was creepy, and Jared Leto's creepy, but not creepy in a Joker way. Creepy in a perverted way, kind of way, because he was
He needs to be crazy, but in control of his craziness.
Yeah, and that's because Warner Bros. Got involved and they cut out a lot of scenes for Suicide Squad. So we needed to see. I know we're probably not gonna get a lot of stuff, but we'll probably get more in value from this Joker than we got in Suicide Squad.
I hope so. It's I mean, I'll say this. There's a reason why I'm really looking forward to James Gunn's Suicide Squad. One, because it's James Gunn, and getting the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 to direct a Suicide Squad movie, it's like, okay, that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be great. But also too, because it's like, I want people to be thinking of these movies as good movies. And all it is just you hire the right directors and you leave them alone. And I think Warner Brothers learned before, and they saw Guardians 1, they saw Guardians 2, they know what James Gunn could do, and the best thing they could do would be like, here you go.
Yes. And this Joker does what Jobber says. And the thing is, the problem with the DCU is that Warner Brothers, they're trying to catch up to Marvel way too fast. That's a mistake. Marvel had 10-year head start with people think Iron Man 1 started the cinematic universe for Marvel. No, it was Incredible Hulk 2, because Iron Man had a cameo at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And Warner Bros. Is trying to catch up way too fast.
Yeah,
and that's a huge mistake.
But I think they've learned their lesson, because they realized, okay, we can't just rush right. We can't just rush right to the team up. So and now they're doing movies that are they're connected, but they're not like tight, like tightly connected, that's what we got with Aquaman and Wonder Woman 84 and Shazam, and and it's like, and those movies have all, in my opinion, been good. I know there's people that didn't like Wonder
I thought Wonder Woman 84 was a fine movie.
But I liked it.
Yeah. It's not a bad movie. A lot of people hated that movie. I admit there's a lot of things that didn't make sense, but if you watch it again, it kind of does make sense. Like the thing about Wonder Woman 84, it's like when the missiles disappeared and stuff, and when after everybody renounced their wish, the missiles disappeared. I'm like, it's magic, right? Magic.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Wonder Woman 84, like when she learned to fly, whatever, and like the mall scene wasn't important. I'm like, okay, the stuff in the mall scene was like the fight was stupid, but the mall scene was still a little bit important because that's where the stone was behind the jewelry store.
Yeah.
So that mall scene was important. I think people just didn't like, because you know what, they expected a tone. Some people thought it's gonna be like Wonder Woman, the first one. I'm like, that's a war-torn movie. This is an 80s movie.
Well, I think a lot of people were also expecting a Stranger Things vibe to Wonder Woman. It's like, it's not Stranger Things.
No. I mean, I'm like, I have no problem with a Wonder Woman Thor Ragnarok like movie. Like Thor Ragnarok it's basically the same tone, fun. I have no problem like that. Like, is Wonder Woman 3 would take place in present time? We'll see, but I mean, it got good enough. It was a good enough movie to get a sequel. And we'll see. Like, I thought Shazam was a fine movie. It's a fine movie. Aquaman, I liked Aquaman. I didn't see Birds of Prey yet. Should I watch that?
It's good. It's good. It's different. And it takes him a little longer to really assemble the Birds of Prey than I preferred.
I heard the title was a mistake. The name of the movie is a mistake.
Well, because it's a mouthful. It's literally Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. That's a mouthful. Don't have that. They put Harley Quinn in the title because they know that's what's going to sell. That's what's going to get people interested. But yet it didn't. But the question is because that movie came out, because that was the last movie I saw in theaters before the pandemic hit. So there is a question of how much did the pandemic affect the box office of it, because it had been out for 3 or 4 weeks before then. But then again, it had been out for 3 or 4 weeks before then and didn't do great. But like, I definitely think it's worth it, because Margot Robbie is she's so good in it. And the moment when you finally get the Birds of Prey working together and you get the canary cry, really good.
And I do have to see it. And I mean, I don't miss comic book movies usually. I watch every MCU movie, and that's the only DCU movie I haven't seen. So
I got to see that in a theater completely by myself in the middle of the day. So it was awesome. So
I love going to movie theaters alone.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Talk to people for 2 hours?
There was nobody else in the theater. It was amazing. It was amazing. I don't know. Have you heard? I don't know if this is a true rumor, because I haven't seen like on the legit sites. But apparently, Keanu Reeves has been offered Kraven the Hunter in a Spiderman spinoff. Hasn't been like legit sites haven't been saying it. But if it's true, if it's a possibility, how do you feel about? I personally, I don't think Keanu Reeves is the best fit for Kraven the Hunter. I don't see him as that. I don't need a Kraven spinoff.
Yeah, it's big.
It's one of those things, like, if you remember, before Sony made the deal with Marvel, I'm convinced they purposefully leaked all these different movie ideas just to see what the reaction would be, because this was when they were trying to do the Sinister Six movie and all these things. And the one, I will never forget this. This was the thing they actually were talking about doing, a young Aunt May movie where she is an agent for a secret government agency it's basically S.H.I.E.L.D., just not named S.H.I.E.L.D. because they didn't have the rights to the name. And I heard this and I was like, okay, come on, stop. You're just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And this is what this feels like. And, look, I haven't seen all of Venom yet, but like I heard, like, it's fine. Like, it was fine, but it's like look, Sony, you clearly like you don't know what you're doing with this character. Like you don't know how to do it. You had to go to Marvel and have Marvel fix it for you and relaunch it and make it better. And it's like I don't need a Kraven that like I don't even see Kraven being honestly, I don't even see him as being a good villain for a Spider-Man film. He's never been a character that has interested me. He's never been a character that I thought would like. Okay, he's strong, but it's like I never understood why Spider-Man always had a tough time with him. The only way I would be fine with a Kraven movie is if they did the Kraven's Last Stand storyline, where he beats Spider-Man, buries him alive, puts on the black suit, not the symbiote black suit, but a cloth black suit he had, terrorizes Mary Jane, and then goes out trying to prove that he can be a better Spider-Man, and then he realizes that he can't. That was a really good story, but I don't unless they're gonna do that. It's like I don't need to see Kraven in a live action. I don't need to see it.
There's also a rumor around like the actor who played Ned Leeds. He lost a lot of weight. It's not a concrete rumor or anything, but like it's just a speculation that he might end up being Hobgoblin. And I'm like, I know Ned Leeds is a Hobgoblin. He was a Hobgoblin in the comics, but I don't want him as the Hobgoblin. I want it to be like the original Hobgoblin or Jason McIntyre Hobgoblin.
Well, I think wasn't Ned Leeds set up as Hobgoblin? Like people thought he was, and then it was revealed that he never was.
Yeah. So I don't think he's gonna be Hobgoblin. I think if you're gonna have Hobgoblin in the movie, have it the original Hobgoblin or the Jason McIntyre. I think that's his last name, McIntyre Hobgoblin. Mm-hmm. But I think the next Spider-Man movie, I think they're setting up a potential Sinister Six because they have Electro. I don't know what other villains, but I mean Tom Holland says Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are not in the movie, but Tom Holland likes to talk and stuff.
He's trying to cover his butt. He's trying to be like, nope, not gonna comment on it, not gonna say it. I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to fully believe that he's telling the truth until I'm sitting down to watch the movie and I see the whole movie go by and I don't see them.
Yeah, and I'm happy that was Doc Ock supposed to be in it, right?
Alfred Molina is back as Doc Ock. So which is why like how can you not have these other Spider-Man actors in if you're bringing that's if it's the Doc Ock from the Tobey Maguire movies and the Electro from the Andrew Garfield movies. But again, we know
they both dead.
Yes, but again, we know. We know it's connecting with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is an MCU movie. Multiverse is going to be something that's in effect, and they tease the multiverse in Far From Home. So,
I'm sad Mysterio died. I thought Mysterio could be more useful. If they're saying Sinister Six, I think Mysterio should have been one that should be alive for that.
Well, hey, multiverse is in effect, baby. Yeah. If with the multiverse in effect, they could easily bring him back.
I know a lot of people didn't like Far From Home. I liked Far From Home.
It was good. I think people were expecting something awesome after Avengers Endgame, and so I think they were a little disappointed because it wasn't on that same level. But I did like Far From Home, but I did miss him not being in New York because Spider-Man is such a New York thing. That's so much a part of his character. Taking him and sticking him in Europe, it's kind of like, okay.
I just don't want Spider-Man. If you're gonna have a Spider-Man 4, 5, whatever, I just don't want all of he's young, right? He's very young. He's a teenager I don't know how long he has to high school. Technically, he's supposed to be in college by now, but since he got snapped, right?
Yeah.
5 years and stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't want all the villains to come out, all the villains in the Spider-Man rogue gallery to appear when he's just like when he's 20, 21 years old, That's my fear with the Spider-Man.
But you know what? We've seen in the comics he can go and he can be a high school science teacher and still have compelling stories. So it does. And my first exposure to Spider-Man was Spider-Man the Animated Series, and in that Peter was in college. So it's almost kind of weird it's almost like I've gotten used to it now, but but it was weird for me at first to have like, oh, Spider-Man's in high school. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Well, especially, in the first Spider-Man movie, he's in high school for all of 5 minutes. And then he graduates and he's off to college and doing Spider-Man things.
Every movie, like the Tobey Maguire, his first movie, he was in high school. Andrew Garfield's first movie, he was in high school. Tom Holland's first movie, he was in high school. They're all started in high school.
Yeah. Well, but because that is such a huge part of the character, because that's how he originally was, and there is a compelling story of and especially because they've all been different. All the actors have portrayed Spider-Man differently.
I mean, Spider-Man 3 with Venom, Spider-Man, that could be burned forever.
You know what? I like that movie.
Really?
I like.
You're the only one.
I had problems with it. Sure, I did not care about Venom. I did not care how they did Venom. And it's and Sam Raimi said I didn't want to do Venom.
I like Sandman though. I like Sandman's story.
Well, I didn't care for that plot decision because it kind of negated Peter's choice of not stopping the robber. I wasn't, I was not personally a fan of that, but there's more in there that I liked than I didn't like, and so for me, that's why I'm able to say that I like the movie. But I fully acknowledge the problems of the movie. I fully acknowledge all the issues.
I understand like he didn't because Sandman was technically the robber, the murder of his uncle. But what I did like about Sandman is like he may be a thief, a criminal, but he's not a bad guy. He's not really a bad guy because he did to save his daughter who was suffering. And I know Peter was mad at him. Like when he got the black suit, he obviously changes your personality. He wanted to kill Sandman. When he got rid of the black suit at the ending, Sandman explained why, and Peter forgave him. I like that. But I understand your point. Let's go to some not so good news from yesterday. Two news. So, is her name Charisma Carpenter or
Charisma Carpenter, I believe, is how it's pronounced.
Cordelia Chase on the Buffy universe came out about Joss Whedon, about her experience on set and meetings with her, and the whole cast came. Albert Benson, who played Tara, came out. Sarah Michelle Gellar had a little statement, and I think it was Instagram.
I think so, and then Michelle Trachtenberg said something as well.
Yeah, Michelle. Oh yeah, who played Dawn. Basically supporting Wade Fisher because the Wade Fisher's going on, investigations going on. Yeah. This is huge. I mean, I love those shows. I love Buffy more than Angel, but those shows are the best, like one of the best from the late '90s to early 2000s. I love those shows. But hearing with this stuff going on set, it just makes it hard to enjoy that show. What do you think about this?
Well, I've only seen the first season of Buffy. That's one of the shows that I wanted to go and really kind of watch, but it just was like. It wasn't hitting for me as much of the time. I did finish the first season. It's unfortunate that a guy that for so long was seen as being a guy who supported having strong women is now found out to be like this. Because Buffy and Angel, Firefly, like all of his shows, Dollhouse, all had strong female characters in them. But let's not forget, Whedon at one point was supposed to do Wonder Woman. He was supposed to do Wonder Woman. Yeah, way back in like 06 or 07, he was working on it. He was working on it at the same time as the director. Movie that was supposed to. George Romero.
I forget who it was, but
the director of Mad Max was supposed to do a Justice League movie that was gonna have like Armie Hammer as Batman.
Yeah.
So around that same time, Joss Whedon was working on his own Wonder Woman movie, and eventually it didn't work out because of creative differences. But like in the last couple of years, a synopsis of that Wonder Woman script leaked, and it is like we dodged a bullet because it was not only was it so bad to Wonder Woman as a character, but as a movie that's supposed to be a for strong females, it really put Wonder Woman as more of a Wicked Woman and made Steve Trevor more of the
Oh.
hero. Like it really
If you push
was.
it out now,
It really was bad, and people were like, "Thank goodness we didn't get that, and we got Patty Jenkins
yeah.
movie instead." So it was really bad. Now maybe his between the time that he was doing Buffy and Angel, and then now maybe he has realized the error of his ways and is really trying to change to be positive, because we know James Gunn was like that, because James Gunn said horrible things on Twitter. But by the time he came around to Guardians, he had owned up to that and realized that, and was like, I was wrong. And that's why when he got fired, the entire Guardians cast stood up for him and said, we know the James Gunn that we worked with, that's not the James Gunn that we saw here. He's not that person anymore. He's grown and changed. So, hopefully that's the case, but it's going to be really...
It doesn't seem like according to Ray Fisher.
I think, yeah. I'm going to be really curious, like, were there problems on the Avengers sets? Because he directed 2 of those. So, and I think that's going to be the interesting thing. Like, are we going to see reports of that, or is it a thing where because it was such a highly visible thing, because they're Avengers and you had all these big Hollywood people in there, could it be that maybe that helped keep him in check in a way that the people of Justice League for whatever reason didn't?
Because Disney does a good job with that, keeping people in check.
Yeah,
and that's Warner Brothers does. I think Warner Brothers, we know how to treat Snyder, because when Snyder left because of his daughter dying, they didn't treat him well after that. I mean, that's disrespectful. And we know what Ray Fisher's going through. Warner Brothers does not care about people. You could clearly tell they do not care about people. They care about DCU but making money and stuff. And now Josh, I'm curious if somebody on set from Avengers, like for example, Scarlett Johansson comes out, that's gonna create this thing created yesterday, Charisma Carpenter, which that created a buzz. If Scarlett Johansson comes out, that's gonna create a bigger buzz.
Yeah. Okay. Her or Elizabeth Olsen for
Maria
Ultron.
Hill character who's Colby Smulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of you watched Mandalorian, right? You seen that?
So I saw all of season 1. I have yet to watch season 2 because there's connections to Clone Wars and Rebels, and I haven't seen all that yet. So I've slowly been working my way through those. I know Baby Yoda has a name now. I know that
Luke's in it.
Yeah. I know Luke made a cameo in it. I know that Ahsoka came back, and so I know kind of stuff like that, like very specific plot details. I don't know, but I know kind of the broad spectrum.
It also a little bit ties into the sequels with the cloning.
Yeah, but
obviously, you've seen season 1. It doesn't matter which season you see, because this topic I'm talking about is not about this show itself. Is about the character of Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano. Well, Disney axed her yesterday because of what she posted on Instagram, comparing, I don't know, like how Republicans are being treated like the Jews in the Holocaust or something. I don't know.
So what it was because when I first read this, I was like, oh, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I reread it and realized what she was really saying. I was like, oh, so what she was saying was, because I took a Holocaust class for a semester in college. Then what she was saying was, which is true in this specific aspect. I want to make that clear. In this specific aspect, what she said about Nazi Germany was right. Jews were being turned in by friends and neighbors gleefully because no, not necessarily because of fear. They were willingly doing it because because in Europe there had been such an anti-Semitic feeling towards Jews, dating back to it first dates back to the fact that the Jews are the one who turned Jesus over to the Romans to get crucified. And when Pilate said, who do you want me to free? This prisoner Barabbas who did terrible things, or Jesus? And the crowd shouted, give us Barabbas. And and led Pilate to take Jesus away to get them crucified. That's where it all started. It started off as hating Jews on a religious basis, and then turned into hating Jews as a race. And it was like Europe had been primed for so long to not think much of Jews, to not think highly of them, that when Hitler came in and said, look, Jews are the reason we lost World War One. They're the reason for the economic downturn that Germany's in.
True.
Jews are a huge part of the problem. That's how they were able to get people to willingly, of their own free will, and gleefully turn in people that were Jews, because they thought they are part of the problem. She is right in that. She is also right in saying that where you go, your political opinion can be something that can be a hot issue with people and can cause people to be just horrible to you. And that happens on both sides of the spectrum. If you go on, I don't have an account on any of the conservative social media stuff, but
neither do I.
But I've seen screenshot stuff, and if you go on there, if you are left leaning on there, you get ripped apart. Places like on Twitter, if you're right leaning, you'll get ripped apart. Point A, what she said was correct, and point B, what she said was correct. Where she's wrong is thinking that point A and point B are on the same level, because they're not. They are completely not. You can getting attacked and hated on for your political opinion is different than getting hated and rounded up and killed en masse in a genocide way because of your race. They are not at all the same. And so for her to try to equate a horrible genocidal event with a political opinion is completely wrong. And I was like, yep, it's like, yep, like, that would have been, that would have been the last straw for me too. And it's like, like I liked her character in the Mandalorian. The roles that she's had, I think she's played them well, because they're fit to her strength. They're not these emotionally complex roles.
Yeah, she's not a great actress.
They're right. There's an element of physicality to them, because she was good in Fast and Furious 6. She's good in the roles that she's played, because
as a side character,
they play to her strengths and hide her weaknesses. But Jobber, I kind of agree.
The thing is, she has to understand, I'm Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I admit I'm Jewish, and I didn't like that, because I agree with you what you said about what she's trying to relate it to, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But she has to understand, she's in the industry, and we can all agree this industry, and as a Jewish, may sound biased, but it's kind of a fact. It's an industry full of Jewish people, my people,
mm-hmm.
right? If you say something like that, you may not get work again.
Yeah.
Because they don't forget it. They will not forgive anti-Semitism unless you're really, really sorry. But without the Jewish thing into it, apparently Disney, if you go on her Twitter feed, she's anti-mask, anti-COVID. She said the election is rigged. Disney had a couple meetings with her, like first time. They just were easy on her. She didn't get fired. Second time, they warned her again. Told her second time, okay. Third time, she promised not to do stuff like this again. Be aware not to post stupid stuff like this again on Twitter. Like, she did something again. Third time, they had a meeting with her in her agency, and she agreed. She agreed not to do this again. And then this happens. Fourth time, guess what? Baseball. 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out. Fourth time, you're gone.
Yeah,
you're gone. And her agency dropped her too.
Yeah,
you can't. She lied to them, and.
Well, and they were there's that Star Wars show, Guardians of the New Republic, I think it's called.
Yeah, she was supposed to start on it. Apparently.
They announced, because they announced it on the Disney Investor Day, and they were originally supposed to announce that she was going to be playing the lead in it, and then because of what she was tweeting in November, they're like, okay, we'll announce the show. We're not going to announce who is a part of it yet, And I asked people on Discord last night, like, hey, is this character, like, could they do without this character in the Mandalorian? 100%. And and based on what I heard, it's like, oh yeah, like like she's just on one planet. She's going to be staying there a while. They can easily avoid going planet. Although, if they wanted to recast her, I've seen people throw out names to to play her. Some people are saying Lucy Lawless.
Yes.
Some people were saying Ronda Rousey, and I'm like, okay, like I'm sorry, I don't need to see Ronda Rousey.
She can't act either. MMA fighters in movies don't know how to act. I'm sorry.
There's a reason why Becky Lynch carried that feud.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Becky Lynch carried that feud, because Ronda can do the physical stuff no problem, the acting not so much. And even like when she was in Furious 7, I was like, okay, she's really good when she's fighting Michelle Rodriguez. When she's talking, I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, 100%. Wrestlers and MMA fighters in movies, yeah, I'm going with the wrestling side because they know how to act and stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's true. I mean, yeah. And Wanda Rousey hasn't been in movies like, well, she's been in some movies, like, but since her wrestling
she did Fast and Furious, just like Gina Carano did. Yeah, but yeah, and it's like, look, you want to believe what you want to believe, okay? Have enough sense not to be going off and spouting your mouth. Like, it's the same thing with J.K. Rowling. Like
oh my
you
God.
you should have known that this was going to cause problems. Keep it to yourself. Say it to your friends and your family members. Don't feel the need just because you know, just because you have a voice doesn't mean people want to hear your opinion on everything. And that's the other thing too. Like, they're giving these opinions unprompted. They're not being asked what their opinion is. They're just deciding, I need to say something, so I'm going to go online and tweet about it. And look what happened now.
Oh yeah, a lot of people say stupid shit just to get attention. But like, these people are saying, oh, she got fired for having an opinion. I'm like, freedom of speech. It's freedom of speech. You can say anything without getting arrested, but there's consequences to the things you say.
Exactly.
People don't grasp that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You go to China, you go to some communist countries, and you say stuff like that, you're gonna get arrested.
Yeah. Yeah. The First Amendment is there so that the government can't put consequences on you for what you say, unless you are doing things like inciting violence, for example. But it's not gonna. It's not gonna stop you from, if you say something stupid on social media, having your employer discovers it, having like, no, bye. That's why a lot of people, like Hannah recently went. Hannah Moore. I had posted something on Twitter and tagged her in it, and she had DM'd me, and she's like, "Hey, can you just delete me from that, because I'm having my social media scrubbed right now for a job, so I don't want anything.
Exactly.
So I don't want anything like that." And I was like, "Sure, no problem. I understand," and I believed it. They will go back through your social media, and as we've seen, random people, they'll go back years into a Twitter feed, because Twitter's been around since like 08 or 09. People will go all the way back then, and if you were signed up then, they'll be able to see what you were saying over a decade ago and bring them back to light. So it's like, don't be stupid online. Don't be saying anything that you might regret later on.
Because there are people that'll scroll down other people's Twitter feeds, like the James Gunn thing, for example. People scroll down. Disney fired him, and then they rehired him because he's changed. He apologized and all that stuff. He's a different person. And with Gina Carano, they didn't fire her right away. They gave her chances. With James Gunn, they fired right away. And I mean, the James Gunn stuff was pedophilic stuff. That's pedophilic.
It was completely inappropriate jokes, But yeah, and and a lot of people, they were getting fired. Gina, Dom Carano, that trended several times before yesterday because of various things that she said. But it's like, it's like she should have known. Hey, especially after meeting with Disney and Lucasfilm execs, hey, he's like, you know what? Better to just not be on social media. If you're having too much of a problem not getting yourself in trouble with things you say, just don't say anything. Or post or just post stuff like, hey, today I went for a run and I went to this place and it's awesome. Or like, hey, I saw this movie. It's great. Everybody go check it out.
I remember those days in early Twitter where it was about like, oh, I just ate this, I just went for a walk. Now Twitter is mostly all politics stuff, right and left.
So was Facebook.
Oh yeah, Facebook. Yeah.
I was around when Facebook was still just mainly for college students. I remember those days.
Yeah,
that shows how old I am.
Social media has become poison over the years.
Mm-hmm.
It's sickening. So we're gonna end this soon, but before I go, I'm getting a video game tomorrow. Super Mario 3D with Bowser's Fury for Switch. Yeah, it's coming in delivered.
Nice. I played some of 3D World on the Wii U when it first came out.
Yeah, it's that version.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I was more a fan of 3D Land on the 3DS. I loved that game. 3D World, I never got around to beating, but this one looks good. Bowser's Fury sounds really cool. Somebody, Imran Khan, who used to be with Game Informer, this is his last week with Kind of Funny, and then he's going to Fanbyte to work over there. But he was saying he thinks Bowser's Fury is kind of testing the waters for what Breath of the Wild 2 might be.
Oh yeah, we haven't
not this next 3D Mario. So
I think the pandemic hurt Breath of the Wild 2 for some reason.
I haven't beaten Breath of the Wild.
I haven't either.
I have so many games for my Switch that I just haven't gotten on playing because it's just I don't have the time. I'm working. I'm a single dad. It's like I don't have the time.
Man, it's like I have 4 consoles. It's hard. I have the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch. It's very hard to choose which console to play. I mean, like PS5 and Xbox, you could in the Series X, they don't have them in the games. But at least in the Series X, you got Game Pass, so you can play a bunch of games.
Mm-hmm.
PS5, they have something like that, but it's only a selected amount. But I do have games for the Switch and the PS4, and yeah, I'm getting the game tomorrow for the Switch, and that's gonna be our show for today. So I'd like to thank you for coming on. So where can I find you on?
You can find me on Twitter at AnakinJMT. You can also find me on the Warren Hayes Discord. Go to at Mr. Warren Hayes. I believe it's his pinned tweet with a link to there. If you like talking wrestling, that's what a lot of talk is about. But we do have sections for talking about movies and TV shows and video games and sports and whatever food and drink we're eating and drinking at the time. It's a good old time. So that's where you can find me.
So I might be on the show tonight on the Hangout. I mean, I haven't been on the Patreon Hangout for 2 weeks. A little bit busy, but I'll try to be on that and watch Warren Hayes' show tonight. So thank you for joining. And for me, Aaron Entertainment on YouTube. I got a show Saturday. I got set up for Why We Love Sports. And next Monday is all about wrestling. Weekly review, basically. Oh, I will be reviewing NXT Vengeance on that show too. So I will not be reviewing NXT for this week because I don't like to review NXT or shows before pay-per-view. The shows that are before pay-per-view. I like to review the pay-per-view. But I will make a prediction show for NXT Vengeance on Sunday before the show. I always like to make the prediction show on the day of the pay-per-view because there has been times where that changes.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, especially with Dom Gargano officially out, I guess that match is done?
Yeah.
That not happening?
I think it's going to happen.
We'll see. We shall see.
So yeah, thank you for coming on, and be sure to follow Anakin on Twitter, and if you can, follow Warren Hayes' Discord and watch Warren Hayes' show tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.
See you later.